They were once the glittering jewels on a city's calling card, the highlight of its brand. Today, they have become the most dangerous pieces on a capital chessboard. While you might be complaining that the price of an entry ticket has gone up by 50 yuan, some of the owners of these magical kingdoms can't even afford to pay their electricity bills. And all of this is just the beginning. Alright everyone, today let's talk about an industry that sounds incredibly romantic, but in reality is hotter and more uncomfortable than the charcoal grill at your local street barbecue. I'm talking about ocean parks. Yes, that very place. The mandatory destination for your childhood school trips, the go-to spot for a cultured date, and the place your own kids now consider a slice of heaven. But recently, this industry has been rocked by a series of thunderous collapses. While we're still trying to figure out where to go for our next holiday, some of China's most famous ocean parks are starting to worry about their very survival. In Hainan, the renowned Fuli Ocean Adventure World, a massive provincial project with a supposed total investment of 15 billion yuan, was recently taken to court and forced into bankruptcy proceedings by a partner it owed a mere 90,000 yuan in technical fees for over 3 years. Meanwhile, in Hubei, the state-owned majority shareholder of the Xiaomaisha Oceanarium plans to sell off its entire stake after losing nearly 9 million yuan in the first half of this year. How did the city's golden ticket for attracting visitors suddenly become a one-way ticket to debt? To understand this, we need to rewind the clock 10 or 20 years back to the golden age of China's real estate boom. Back then, developers were flush with cash and looking for land. The logic was brutally simple, but there was a problem. Everyone was building apartments. How do you make your project seem more valuable, more high-end than the next guy's? And thus, a genius formula was born. Real estate plus tourism. Think about it. If a developer builds a housing complex in a barren suburb, you probably wouldn't give it a second glance. But what if they told you that right next to your new home, there would be a massive ocean park with dolphin shows, beluga whales that nuzzle up to the glass, and colorful jellyfish floating right above your head? Suddenly, the whole project feels elevated. It sounds like a middle-class dream, tailor-made for family weekends. Armed with this story, developers could acquire huge tracts of land from local governments at bargain prices. After all, what government wouldn't want a project that boosts its city's image and GDP? And so began the great leap forward of ocean parks. The names got grander and grander, evolving from humble aquariums to ocean worlds, and finally to polar ocean parks and ocean adventure worlds. You'd think they were trying to move the entire Pacific Ocean inland. In 2005, there were about 80 ocean parks in China. By 2021, that number had exploded to around 260. The speed was unprecedented, and behind this frenzy was the dream of countless developers: hold real estate in the left hand and tourism in the right. But there was a fundamental flaw in this dream. How do ocean parks actually make money? Tickets, food, merchandise, right? But can that revenue really support a park that costs billions to build and run? A large-scale ocean park is a true money-eating beast. The initial construction and animal acquisition costs are astronomical, but the real black hole is the operational cost. These marine animals are royalty, and serving them costs a fortune. Water quality, temperature control, specialized daily food, a 24/7 team of vets and trainers, the list is endless. A medium-sized aquarium can spend up to 6 million yuan a year on electricity alone. The annual feeding cost for a single dolphin is up to 700,000 yuan. For a beluga whale, it's 900,000 yuan. And for an orca, the annual expense skyrockets to 5 million yuan. You could buy an apartment in most cities for that. And here's the killer detail. Unlike an amusement park that can just shut off the power and furlough staff during a crisis, an ocean park can't. Even with zero income, the power must stay on, and the cost of animal care cannot be cut by a single cent. You can't exactly tell a shark, Hey pal, we're all tightening our belts, so let's turn off the filtration system for today. This high investment, high operation, heavy asset model makes them incredibly vulnerable. Most parks walk on a single leg, ticket sales from one-time visitors. A family of 3 can easily spend 1,000 yuan. But after you've been once, how soon are you going to go back? The novelty wears off, and repeat business becomes a massive problem. This creates a vicious cycle. To attract visitors, they must invest in new animals and exhibits. The more they invest, the higher the operating costs. The higher the costs, the more expensive the tickets. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. A lot of frantic motion, but ultimately, it's just going in circles. But the most fatal flaw, the game's underlying logic, was that it was never really about tourism. It was about selling houses. For many developers, the ocean park was just a tool, a giant, sparkling piece of bait to acquire cheap land and then inflate the value of the adjacent residential properties. The plan was brilliant. Use the park to get the land, quickly sell the apartments and shops to recoup the cash, and if the park itself lost a bit of money, who cares? It's just a marketing expense. This model worked beautifully during the real estate boom. But as the famous saying goes, when the tide goes out, you discover who's been swimming naked. The myth of perpetually rising property prices has shattered. When the houses stopped selling and the developers' cash flow dried up, the ocean park instantly transformed from a cute mascot into a massive, bleeding wound. When you can barely feed your biological children, who has time for a high-maintenance adopted child that burns through cash like a furnace? Even the industry leader, Haichang Ocean Park, has been drowning in debt, forced to sell off 4 of its prize parks just to get some life-saving cash. When the pump that's transfusing blood into the system stops, the beast's collapse is only a matter of time. This reckless expansion created a deeper sickness. The industry is plagued by homogenization and shockingly low standards. The rush to build spawned countless three-nose aquariums. No professional design, no operational experience, and not enough capital. The real estate mindset of faster, cheaper, better meant they treated animals not as living beings, but as disposable props. Buy a bunch of cheap fish to fill the tanks for the grand opening, and hope most of them survive the holiday rush. The mortality rates are horrific, over 50% in the first 6 months. This is a tragedy born from an industry that prioritizes spectacle over life. And of course, the final blow came from the consumers themselves. Young people today have endless entertainment options, and with a growing awareness of animal welfare, the ethics of keeping marine animals in captivity for performance are being seriously questioned. The call to refuse animal performances is getting louder and louder online. This directly attacks the core attraction of many parks. So, is it all over? Not necessarily. Some parks are attempting a difficult pivot. Haichang, instance, is now trying an asset-light model, selling its management expertise and brand instead of building parks itself. Their other strategy is IP integration. The Shanghai Haichang Park has gone all in on the Japanese superhero Ultraman, with giant statues and themed hotel rooms. The park has become a pilgrimage site for fans. It's a shocking revelation. The star of the ocean park is no longer the beluga whale. Ultraman is the new savior. Ultimately, the crisis of the ocean park is a microcosm of a much larger story in China's development. An entire industry was built on the tailwinds of the real estate boom, leading to blind expansion, homogenization, and a neglect of sustainable business models. They went from being a golden ticket to a bankruptcy notice, not because people stopped loving the ocean, but because the bosses loved fast money too much. That era of reckless growth fueled by real estate blood transfusions is over. In the future, only those who return to the core product, who thoughtfully curate content, and who provide genuine, lasting value to their visitors will survive. Those who treat it as a speculative tool, a springboard for quick profits, will surely crash and burn when the winds change. After all, dolphins won't help you pay back your debts, and orcas won't balance your financial reports. What truly needs to change is the capital-driven game that used these magnificent creatures as mere pawns. In the end, this world is a simple place. All glittering bubbles are eventually and mercilessly popped by the gravity of reality. A poet of our times might reflect, "With real estate's gold, they built a wondrous stage, but ticket sales can't fill the balance page. The captive stars a giant cost to bear, while water, food, and power burn through air. The parent firm now pulls the funding chain, and bankruptcy is whispered in the rain. The former jewel becomes a heavy stone, a bubble burst on borrowed time alone." That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.